Hey, yo, how y'all doing? This is your girl Tashin, and I'm back with another story. Yes, from your boy Ray. He got another story for us, and this one is he kills old people. You have to be a demon to be going around doing that to people. Like, seriously, something wrong with you. But let's get straight to it.
So this guy, he's just evil. Like, he's a psychopath. Let me show you. Now, the psycho's name is Benjamin. He's 22, he's a college student, he lives in England, and one day, this older writer comes to his university to give a guest lecture. His name's Peter. Peter's 67. Here's the thing about Peter. Peter's gay. He's also deeply religious. And he's single and extremely lonely. And Peter's getting to that age where he's terrified of dying alone and he wants companionship. He wants someone to share his life with. So Benjamin, he sees Peter's lecture and he befriends him and they hang out, and Benjamin starts visiting him at his home every day, and they're really hitting it off. And even though he's significantly younger than him, Peter thinks Benjamin is fine. And these two start dating, and pretty quickly Benjamin moves into Peter's place with him. And things go well, and later Benjamin even proposes to Peter, and they have a betrothal ceremony, which I guess is kind of like an engagement ceremony. I guess it's like a religious thing. But having a betrothal ceremony shows that Peter is really committed to this relationship. And why wouldn't he be? He finally found someone who cares about him. I mean, he was super lonely before, and now he has someone to spend his life with.
I understand
Here's
that,
an
but
actual
damn,
photo of the two of them together. And
Whoa.
here's another photo. And I gotta say, they look really happy together. I mean,
They really do. But what happened? What's gonna happen? Because it says he kills old people. Oh boy.
they even go to church together every week, and Benjamin becomes a church warden. In fact, Peter's so serious about this relationship, he changes his will to include Benjamin in it. However, here's where the story gets dark.
Of course.
Remember how I said Benjamin is a psychopath? Well, he isn't really in love with Peter. Benjamin sees Peter as an easy target. A lonely, gullible old man who's in love with him. A man who would believe whatever Benjamin tells him because he's so desperate for
This is why it's okay to be lonely. I'd rather be lonely. This is why it's okay to be single and just be lonely. Because, oh my God, this poor old man. Oh my God. Oh God. Oh, I don't know what to say at this point. Oh my God.
And now that
3 fruits to avoid for weight loss and 3 that are amazing.
Fruit to avoid number 1, ripe banana.
Benjamin's got Peter to put him in his will, he comes up with a plan to get rid of Peter for good.
Poor Peter.
First, he makes Peter think he's going crazy. He goes and he takes everyday items from around the house and he hides them. He also moves photographs around to different places and low-key deletes contacts from Peter's phone. So Peter starts to think his memory's fucked up. And Peter's like, what's happening? Am I crazy? Then Benjamin gets online and he orders a bunch of hallucinogens and sedatives. And he gets prescription drugs from a bunch of different places. And he secretly starts putting them in Peter's food. He drugs him every day. And poor Peter, he doesn't know any of this is going on. He just knows that he hasn't really been feeling like himself lately. And he starts reacting to the drugs. And he's getting confused and slurring his words all the time and hallucinating. So he's totally not himself. And when he goes around his friends are like, why are you acting so weird, bro? And his friends and all the people around him legitimately think he's losing his mind. And it's humiliating for him. While Benjamin, he's just loving that his plan is working.
This is some evil. You have to be an evil person to do that to someone. It's not just doing this to the older person, but to anyone. You know, you sit back and you just watching someone going through that. It's just so sad. And you come in this man's life and you ruin his life by doing this. Just leave them alone. Like, oh my God. Peter was better off just being by himself. I'm sorry.
And he's such a weird guy that he'll like record videos of Peter all drugged up and rambling.
It's such a strange world, the whole thing, because on the one hand, I'm actually used to be sort of competent.
Of course.
And all this goes on for months. Peter acting strange and people think he's slowly going insane, and no one suspects Benjamin is behind the whole thing. Until one morning, Peter's housekeeper comes over, like normal, and she enters the house, and bam, there, on the couch, she spots him. Peter sitting there, unalived. And there's a half-empty bottle of whiskey beside him. Benjamin had apparently drugged him until he could no longer function, and then he somehow filled him up with alcohol, and he potentially suffocated him with a pillow. The smothering him with a pillow part isn't actually 100% certain, that's just speculation. Regardless, the coroner examines Peter's body, and I guess they didn't do a really good job because his death is wrongly ruled an accident by alcohol intoxication. Like he died from drinking too much. And so Benjamin, he gets to collect his money from Peter's estate, and he gets paid, and he uses this new bag to buy a little apartment for himself, and he's happy. Like, his plan worked. But he isn't done yet.
It's sad that people don't have they don't have a heart, they have no conscience, nothing. Like, the fact that if you hear snoring, that's my dog. It's funny how when you hear a dog snoring, it don't sound like it's coming from a dog. It sounds like it's coming from a person, you know? It's funny to me. It's just funny. You would think he just came back from work or something. But anyway. Yeah, it's just so crazy that these people, I don't know. You could sleep at night and not even worry about, not even thinking of the fact that you just took someone's life, an innocent person's life. You just took their life and you could just sleep at night. This is sad. See, I'm telling you, there's some evil people out there in this world.
There are still more older people to swindle. And in fact, he's already chosen his next victim, this woman, Anne. And Anne only lives a few houses down from where Peter lived. And Anne is 81, and she's very religious, she's not married, no children, and most importantly, just like Peter, Anne is lonely. And she really wants some kind of romantic companionship. So Benjamin meets Anne, and they become friends.
I don't want to meet nobody. I mean, he's young, you know, and he knows how to, you know, sway into these people's life. This is sad. I'm sorry, y'all. This is so sad. Oh my.
And he's 24 at this point, so there's a big age gap between them. Regardless, he tells her everything she wants to hear, he rizzes her up, and they start dating, and he writes her love notes and poems and shit, and he's all charming, and eventually they start smashing. And pretty quickly, now that Benjamin is in a relationship with her and she trusts him, he starts asking to borrow money. Like, he gets her to give him 4,400 pounds because I guess he's gonna buy himself a car. He then gets her to give him 27,000 pounds or...
But my thing is, what happened to the money? What happened to the money he got from Peter's estate? Is not enough? Oh my God.
Or about 36,000 US dollars because he tells her that his brother is sick and he really needs to buy him a kidney dialysis machine. Spoiler alert, he doesn't use the money to buy a dialysis machine for his brother. He spends it on himself.
Of course.
Because, of course he does. Now, because Anne is very religious, Benjamin starts taking advantage of that. And he secretly starts writing messages on her bathroom mirror for her to find. Like, here's an actual photo he took of the mirror after writing one of those messages. And he tells Anne, not that he wrote them, he tells her that these mirror messages must be messages from her God. And she believes him. And these messages he writes will say a lot of different things, but most importantly, some of them tell Anne to leave her house to Benjamin in her will. And I guess this works because eventually Anne changes her will to include him. And if that isn't crazy enough, one day, out of nowhere, bam, Anne has a seizure and she's rushed to the hospital. And while she's there at the hospital, Anne's niece comes to visit her. And while she's lying there in the hospital bed, probably all medicated on pain meds, she tells niece all about her new lover, this 24-year-old stud named Benjamin. And he is so fine. And also, she tells her how her God is somehow writing messages on her bathroom mirror. And of course, her niece is like, what the fuck? So Niece goes and reports all this to the police, and pretty quickly they start investigating Benjamin. And during this investigation, police learn about Peter's death, and that Benjamin used to date Peter, and that he ended up in his will. And police get suspicious, and they start wondering if maybe Benjamin played a role in unaliving Peter. So 19 months after he passes, they exhume Peter's body. And they do a second, more thorough autopsy on him, and this time they find Peter had sedatives in his system while not having that much alcohol in his system, and that he may have been suffocated with a pillow. So then, pow, police arrest Benjamin. Here's his mugshot. And the court ends up finding him guilty of murdering Peter, and he gets sentenced to a minimum 36 years in prison. Good.
I said the same thing. Good. You have to be a wicked person to do something like that. It's just so sad. There are people out here in this world that are taking people's life because, you know, they just want to, because they want something from them, you know? Or, I mean, you do have some people just do it just to be doing it, but, like, who give you the right? Who give you the right to take someone's life? You gotta be an evil person to just take someone's life and don't care at all. Don't have no conscience, nothing at all, and just sleep good at night. Like, you gotta be a evil person. Oh my God, poor Peter. Rest in peace. But obviously the old lady is okay because they didn't say she died. So, but anyway, comment below. Let me know how y'all feel about this, and I see y'all later. Y'all take care. Bye and peace.